Welcome back, and in this video we're going to take a look at this example, and one of the important things about this one is going to be locating these circles. There are a bunch of different ways to do this, but now we know how to manipulate the UCS, and just by doing that we can figure out and make these placement for these circles a lot simpler for us. Okay, so we can either choose to start at 0, 0, or we can start anywhere we want to build the outside and go ahead and manipulate the UCS and place our circles. So on this one, I will start at the 0, 0. So you're going to see the X and Y going to be located here. That's going to play an important role, especially as you're starting to develop some of these angled lines and especially for the placement of the circles. So some of the same rules are going to apply that we have to understand negative and positive on the X and Y values. Let's go ahead and jump on over to AutoCAD and get started on this one. Okay, so some of the first things we want to make sure we do is I like to turn the grid off. I have no need for it, and I'll do that. My dynamic input is turned on. And most of the lines I'm going to create are orthographically, although if we refer back to the example, we will see that there are some lines that are sitting at 45 degrees. And those lines that's going to sit at 45 degrees is going to be these angled lines here. So without them actually putting an angle on them, we know that they're sitting at 45 degrees because the X and Y components are the exact same values. Now, don't take that as I'm telling you that the length of this line is 5 long. I'm just telling you the angle of this line is 45 degrees going downward, and you would have to do some trigonometry to figure it out if that's kind of your plan on creating that line any other way. But it's a lot easier because you know the X and Y components. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to start at 0, 0, and I'm just going to pan this up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and start with the line command. And like I said before, the first value it's looking for is an absolute value. So I'll just type in 0, 0 here. Go ahead and hit enter. And like another thing that I said, let me go ahead and turn my ortho on since all of these lines are kind of going in those directions. So make sure that you're getting the preview going this direction. Type in 40. I'm going to go up a distance of 10.5 to the left here, 5, and now I want to go down and to the left. So those two should give me an idea of what kind of values I'm going to need for my X and Y components. So I'm going in the left on the X axis, so it's going to be a -5, and I accidentally pushed +5, -5, comma, and I want to go down, so I'm going to type in another -5. Enter. Then I'm going to come down a distance of 1. Enter. Let's go back to the left here. 20. Let's go up 1. And then we have to put in those rectangular components again. We're still headed left on the X-axis, so therefore that's a -5, comma, and we're going up in the Y direction, so this is just going to be 5. Enter. Let's go back to the left, a distance of 5. And then we're going to hit C and close it. So we created the outline of what we're going to need to create this. Now let's go ahead and place the values of where those circles are. Now based on this example, we see that our 0, 0 is located here. So it's going to be pretty straightforward in placing this first circle. So we're going to use a circle command, and the one that we're going to use is going to be the radius. Now also keep in mind that by default, when you use AutoCAD without actually going up to the circle command, so if I go C enter, by default it's looking for a radius. So we can choose to go up to the icon and select it, which I'll do on the first one. But for my second example, I'm just going to type in C enter, or I can actually use the enter button as to repeat the last command. And since it's the exact same size circle, we don't have to put this value in twice. We can just hit enter to bypass that because AutoCAD does remember our last value. Okay, so let's go ahead and use the circle command, and by default, it's set to my radius one here at the top. So circle, center radius. Now you don't have to select in the drop down. Remember that you can always just select the one that's at the top. That looks like the radius icon, so I don't have to select the drop down to go to that. I can select the top icon, and now it's asking me where do I want to place it. So in the drawing, the X component was sitting at 4.5, comma, and the Y component was sitting at 6 up, so 6. Once I hit enter, it will place the center of that circle, and I'll type in the radius in this case, which is 2. Now I'll go ahead and move the UCS, since I don't want to have to do all the math of trying to figure out exactly where it's located here. So I'm just going to select the XY. I'll select the square. Now I'll go ahead and put it at this endpoint. I'll go back to the circle command, so C, enter. Remember, by default, it's asking for a radius, so the first thing it's going to ask me for is where's the center at. Now this is my 0, 0, so I have to work backwards. I'm going negative 4.5 in the X direction, comma, and I still want to go up in the Y direction, so I'm going to positive 6, enter. And now it's the exact same size radius as my last circle, so just go ahead and hit enter. Now, it's always a great practice to go ahead and put your UCS back. So where it says unnamed, select, and then select the word WCS. That will put it back at the world coordinate system. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this one and understand a little bit more about manipulating the UCS to make our life a little bit easier. And like I said, once we go back to the example here, I've mentioned in some other videos that I sometime will put some of these magenta dimensions on there. So if you're wondering what these are just over dimensions that I normally wouldn't put in a dimension. So you probably wouldn't see these on the drawing if I was doing this drawing, but they're good as references so you can see exactly where each and every dimension was. So just keep in mind that in the future, when we get to doing some dimensioning of drawings and things of that nature, all of these dimensions are really not needed. Okay? So, and some of the other ones on here that I may not have highlighted may not be needed as well. All right? So, I want to go ahead and thank you for this. And if you found any value of this or you like these type of videos, go ahead and like and subscribe as I plan on coming out with more. And thank you for watching.